Hi everybody, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're in the world. I'm Sumit Mitra, CEO of Tesco Business Services. In fact, I have a couple of other roles at Tesco where I sit on our joint venture with the Tata Group in India as Trent Hypermarkets, and I also sit in the board of Booker Limited. My role in Tesco is to manage the global business services across 4 countries, supporting the Tesco business as a horizontal organization. So today, what I'm going to do is take you through our digital and transformation journey that we have taken over the last 3.5 years. But before I do so, let me start with Tesco. Those of you who don't know much about Tesco, Tesco is a 100-year-old company. Started off with a little tea stall in London, started by a gentleman called Jack Cohen. And today this is a multinational, multi-billion-dollar company. So let me share some statistics about Tesco. We have around over 4,000 colleagues. We have over 4,000 stores across 5 countries with 1 JV in India. We have roughly around near $60 billion revenue, and we have around 45 million shopping trips per week in the UK alone. Let me paint a little bit of picture of Tesco Business Services. So I joined Tesco about almost 4 years ago, and I started the Tesco Business Services concept in Tesco. So we are, as I said, a horizontal organization supporting all parts of Tesco business, whether it's the retail business or our subsidiaries like the bank, the wholesale division of Booker, Tesco Mobile. We own the digital transformation for the group, whether it's robotics, whether it's AI. We've built it as a center of scale as well as a center of expertise. When I say center of scale, what I mean is how do we, the blueprint of how do we run our operations, how do we govern it, how do we manage it, and it's completely scalable, whether we run in Budapest or Dundee or in India. We have been, we are very proud. Last 2 years in a row, we've been nominated as top 20 most admired GBS in the world by SSON, and we are an integral part of Tesco's strategy. I want to talk a little bit about our evolution. We started off 17-18 years ago in Bangalore as a labor arbitrage, in-house center, which was where work was kind of pushed out, and through that it evolved into delivering service, and then we evolved into what we call a global business services, and our center in Bangalore evolved into a horizontal capability rather than a center or a hub. So we became a horizontal organization which is agnostic of the region. So we have a center in Budapest which supports all our customers in Europe where there is language restriction or data protection issues. In UK, in Dundee, we take and manage all the customer calls, all the voice calls of our customers. And we have a little center in Welwyn Garden City, which is our headquarters. And then our main hub is in Bangalore, which acts as a center of excellence for our transformation as well as digital transformation. So how did we go on that journey to become the top 20 most admired GBSs in the world? And I want to take you through the journey. But before I do, let me talk about some of the major forces that's shaping the retail industry and that's impacting our thoughts and thinking in terms of how we drive our transformation. So if you look at technology disruptions, there is blockchain, IoT, clouds, and even cloud of the clouds. So there are many technologies which is disrupting the way we doing things. Political uncertainties, we know that we see kind of the economic pressure the countries are under because of the pandemic that we've had over the last 18 months. We've seen a patriotism culture which is moving to the far right. We've seen Brexit, where it created and divided boundaries, which created pressure on different businesses, and which meant that Tesco as a business had to adopt and adapt to these changes. And then through pandemic, we have almost 100% of our workforce working from home, which meant that you're always on, and you have different ways of engaging your workforce. But how the views of customers are changing. 50% of all consumers in Europe basically said that they're willing to boycott companies who are not working ethically. And what we've seen is the data consumption and the usage of data is 10 times more than what it is now versus what was in 2013. I want to give you a bit of lens from the customer side. Customer wants everything right here, right now. They want it personalized. They want to ensure that their data is safe. They want to make sure they're physically healthy and safe, and the food we support them with and food that is available to them are healthy and very clear with instructions. And we are doing everything we can to reduce the kind of the impact on the environment. So all this in the background, let me talk a little bit about the journey that we are taking. And one of the European surveys have recently said that over 60 to 70% of the jobs over the next 3-4 years won't exist. And there will be a lot of new skills which would be added. And another report from World Economic Forum is saying that almost 25 million jobs around the world will be impacted by technology, and almost 30 million new jobs will be created with the new skills. So let us take you through the journey. Building the enablers is key. We need to, if technology is the bullet train, we need to ensure that the tracks are built before the bullet train can run. And the two tracks for a bullet train to run in an organization is the culture of the organization and the process of the organization. It doesn't matter how many millions of pounds you spend on deploying world-class technology, it's not going to work if you don't have the right culture. And you must have heard and read many times that culture is strategy for breakfast. What it means is you need to have a culture which is agile, which is ready to adopt and adapt to the changes that you're driving. And that helps you to drive the right culture. From a process perspective, in Tesco, when I first started 4 years ago, what we did was we said there are only 10 processes in Tesco. Nothing else should exist. And if you are doing anything else beyond those 10 processes, you must stop. And we created a clear blueprint of what means from a 10 processes perspective. This is starting from how we serve our customers, how we build our strategy, how we support our colleagues, how we deal with the suppliers, how we manage our technology. So like this, we had 10 processes. And we were very clear from a blueprint perspective is which parts of those processes actually sits in Tesco Business Services. So that clarity from a culture perspective, the clarity from a process perspective is a great enabler for driving technology. I'm going to talk about the next step, which is building the right operational ingredients. Because if your operations is all over the place, it doesn't matter what technology you deploy, it's not going to work. Your operations, the quality of your operations is the bread and butter of your organization. So delivering right first time, on time, everywhere in the world should be your motto. And then you must create a culture of bottom-up continuous improvement. At Tesco, we have a very clear purpose, a purpose of serving our shoppers a little better every day. A little better every day concept comes from the continuous improvement culture, the bottom-up continuous improvement culture. I'm a great believer that continuous improvement is bottom-up, not top-down. So we train our colleagues to ensure they have the right tools and techniques and we use a methodology, a Japanese methodology called Kaizen, which helps us to eliminate waste, to ensure our colleagues have the tools to drive the continuous improvement journey through their processes. And we do a number of interventions like design thinking, Lean, Six Sigma, change management within our CI framework to drive that culture. And then you have your usual talent management, your governance and control, your quality management, your volume reduction plan, because you have good volume, bad volume, to drive a world-class efficient operations. So that's your fundamental, that's your brilliant basics. If you get that right, then you can drive the digital transformation. So we have a very clear strategy and we have a very clear design principle. The first one is all incoming work should be digitized and it should be managed through workflow tools. And it has to remain digital as we drive this. And all work should be tracked through digital workflow system. And then the work should be powered by robotic capability. If it's mundane, if it's rule-based, is it task-based? And then it should be made more intelligent through the AI that we have. So if we click on the next, it tells you sort of the architecture. So we have our supplier interaction, colleague interaction, customer interaction, and then we have a very clear workforce management system which looks at the volume. And that helps us to eliminate bad volumes. So where customers making complaint, how do you fix those complaints and go back to the business and fix the problems at source? And the workforce management decides how do we staff up, how do we make sure that we manage our peaks and troughs. And then you have your ERPs and the business application. Below that, you have your digital platform, your self-service, your API strategy, and then you have your intelligent workforce with your cognitive automation, with your chatbots, etc., which sits underneath. And then anything by exception is managed by humans, which requires intelligence, which requires data interpretation, which requires commercial skills, which requires emotional intelligence. That's being picked up by human. I'll move on to step 4. Customer should be right at the center and heart of everything that we do. We are very clear from that. And I haven't been to any organization that thinks customer more than what Tesco does. It was real refreshing for me when I joined Tesco 4 years ago. So we call it the domino effect. So if you think about colleagues, our colleagues serve our customers, suppliers, and our internal colleagues. The processes serve those colleagues who are supporting those customers, colleagues, and suppliers. And then automation serves those processes. And we say that these three are very interconnected. And if one falls, the other falls as well, the domino effect. So therefore, the interrelationship between the colleagues, the processes, and the automation has to be really key and understood from an end-to-end perspective. And that's been our philosophy in terms of how we drive our automation and digital journey at Tesco. If we move on to the next slide, I'll go into step 5 and talk about how does it bring together. So as I said, we have clear 8 process models, 10 process models, and out of those 10, 8 is managed by Tesco Business Services from a ranging difference. In finance, for example, 78% of all finance processes in Tesco is managed by Tesco Business Services. If I look at property and architecture, 100% of all architecture, design, planning of all stores is made by Tesco Business Services. So we call it service model. These are the processes, 8 processes, which are our guide rails. And then we have 3 transformation steps. The first one, we call it organization. And this is about ensuring that we scale up, we bring in everything within our organization that should sit within Tesco Business Services. We call it one office in terms of, we don't say back office, middle office, front office, it's one office. So there are some stuff which we are doing is right customer facing. There's some stuff we are building, like I said, we are designing buildings for, stores for Tesco. We are, the hardcore analytics and insights that we're doing is impacting customers. So we call it one office in terms of how we work. That's organization. The second is value stream. This is about looking through the lens of horizontally across those 8 processes and connecting the dots and using technology horizontally across to connect the dots and creating untapped value opportunity for our business. And the third aspect of our transformation is digitalization, where we use cognitive technology, the RPA capability, the AI, we use Watson to drive commercial and contract management for us, and that helps us drive £1 million of savings. And these 3 delivers value for us. We call it 3x value. If a cost of our operation is £100 million, how do we create a value of £300 million and above? And the value that we create are very clear. We're driving top line growth, we're driving bottom line growth, we're generating cash, customer satisfaction, supplier satisfaction, colleague experience. If you're not doing any of these, then you got to question yourself, what are you doing? And then finally, what is the consequence of all this? What does it all mean? So by driving this digital transformation and digital journey, what does it mean for Tesco? If we move on to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about the sustainable competitive advantage that we're creating through Tesco Business Services and how we're becoming an integral part of Tesco. From a capability building, over 3,000 colleagues has been trained on CI and Kaizen methodology, and over 700 has been certified by British Quality Foundation. Over 260 processes that we have been automated through RPA capability, and as I said, AI capabilities are driving commercial and contract management. And then on top of that, as I said, workflow tools, chatbots that we have, the ERP system that we use, that all interconnects with each other to drive. And our vision is to ensure that 40% of all our processes are automated. And that's what we are heading for 2023. We call it Mission 23. In terms of value generation, over the last couple of years, we've saved over 500,000 man hours. That equates to almost 25% efficiencies that we have delivered across our organization in the last couple of years. By looking through value stream, the digitalization lens, we've delivered over £200 million of bottom line improvement at Tesco. We have improved cash by almost £100 million working through this transformation. But this has to be sustainable. This has to create a culture, which I talked about, the tracks, which I talked about earlier on. We have to create a culture. And the bottom-up culture is creating almost 3,500 ideas at one time for us within the business. And our transformation team then picks up those ideas. Some of them are just do it, and our colleagues are trained to just carry out those ideas and improve those processes. But if there are themes, if there are ideas that span different hubs, so our transformation team then will pick up and drive a transformation project of joining the dots across the business and solving those problems which our colleagues are facing to drive an end-to-end transformation for us. As I said, 350 colleagues have gone through digital training in partnership with our partners, and also 50 plus has been certified as citizen developers. These citizens actually looking at opportunities within our processes. So it's not just dependent on our transformation team to drive digitalization. We have our colleagues who are doing the day-to-day work. They're looking at our own processes and looking for opportunities to drive RPA, to drive other automation opportunities within their processes, which is a great way of driving bottom-up automation culture. And as I said, we've been recognized by SSO in Shared Service and Outsourcing Network as the top 20 most admired, and we've won the Gold Award for Transformation and Bronze Award for Automation in the last year in their annual awards. So very, very proud of what we have achieved. In summary, we are on a journey. It's never a destination, it's on a journey. We are continuously improving the way we work, continuously improving our processes, continuously improving our culture, and continuously driving digitalization to get to the ultimate goal of 40% automation. We know we are a 100-year-old company. We know that we're not going to get CapEx to replace the systems which are old, because our focus is primarily on end customer. How do we improve end customer experience? But there are a number of digital things that we can drive automation, the process changes that we can do internally, which connects our systems together to drive end-to-end efficiency within our business. And our aim over the next 18 months is to drive 40% digitalization, as I said. And ultimately, it's all about the customers. It's improving their lives, serving our shoppers a little better every day through this journey. Thank you very much, and lovely to talk to you today.